I'm gonna go over how you assemble one of these shocks. It's pretty to the point. It's not that hard. There's a couple things you want to pay attention to and check. I'm not going over opening the boxes. I never understood the point of unboxing videos. I like to start with extending the shock all the way. I'll use something with soft handles, stick it in the eye, and check that this nut is tight. It typically always is, but in the instance, yeah, that one's tight. In the instance it's not, you already have the spring on, it becomes a little tricky to try to get in there and snug that up. So now that we know our eye is tight, we're gonna go through and install the top and bottom bushings in it, sleeves. Depends on what type of mount style you have. I personally like to go through and set the snap ring on one side first, so you're not fighting it. It's an internal snap ring, squeeze it, it's got a receiver groove. There we are, we're in it all the way around. We're gonna do the same thing on the bottom end. There we go. Yep. Now that we got both of those in, rotate the shock to the other side. You can slide your sleeves in, bushings, whatever you want to call them. They typically are a pretty tight fit. You have to have them perfectly straight for them to want to slide down in it. They might fight you a little bit. There it goes. Oh. There it is. It's a really snug fit. Take your other snap ring, we're going to pop that in the opposite side. Okay. Come back to the first side, pop that snap ring in. What you want to double check for, you can see that the one side is not snapped all the way in. Just take your snap ring pliers and give it a little push. Hear it click, now it's in all the way. Now that you have your bushings on, you can do that first, last, in the middle, it really don't matter. You want to go through and put your Spaniard nut. I think they call this a cap nut, spring retainer, whatever you want to call it. This is the one that the spring will actually sit against. You take your Spaniard nut, you have one side that has this machined lip here and one side doesn't. You want the machined lip facing up on your shock. Now you do that so that way these two aren't completely bound into each other, so when you're trying to adjust this with a Spaniard nut wrench, it's not just fighting you the whole way. So you stick your lock ring on, then your spring retainer cup, whatever you want to call it. Then you have this shim. Now they recommend anti-seizing the side of this that's going to sit down against these. I'm going to put this on in a minute so I'm not making a mess. You might have noticed that I only just started those and then stopped. Anywhere in your range of motion that you think you might need to adjust this, you're going to want to anti-seize it, or it will just gall the threads up on this aluminum body and completely ruin it. I recommend using white high temp anti-seize. It's metal free, and also I've just found that it seems to work better. It stays on longer, it's better at stopping corrosion. I just kind of all around prefer it. Also, it's nice if you get a little bit on you, like that's my towels there, it wipes right back off. You don't turn into the Tin Man like you do with normal anti-seize. So now we're gonna go through and just put a ton on here. I might get excessive with it, but with the white stuff, it's not that messy, and I'm not really willing to ruin my whole shock because I didn't put enough anti-seize on it the first time. If you look, I've got it pretty well coated all the way around. There's only a few little spots that show just a tiny bit of the aluminum through it. It's good enough. Once you spin the nuts down, they're going to pile up a bunch of this anti-seize on them anyway. But, like I said, you do not want to ruin these threads because it's the body of your shock. There's no fixing it, and almost no shock company would warranty it. They all tell you to anti-seize these, so you can do what you want, but I always make sure I liberally cover them. Now you're going to want to turn this, I believe they say a third of the way down. I usually go a little bit further than that. Or you want to be about a third of the way from the bottom, I guess. I like going a little bit further than that, just so you're not fighting the spring at all. You can see some of that anti-seize kind of build up on there. That's the nice thing about the white stuff. Just run your finger around it, put it back up here. Grab you a rag. Since you're using white anti-seize, comes right back off, no mess. It's pretty slick stuff, if I'm being honest. Now, you gotta put the washer on. Shim, I guess, is probably what they technically call it, but you want to get a pretty thick coating on this because this is going to have the vast majority of the shear spring rate pushing against it. So you want to make sure you got a good amount in there because there's just going to be so much pressure on it that it's going to push a lot of it out. Now that you got that coated, you'll take it, set it face down so it sits down against that. It helps just kind of keep stuff from wanting to build up in there. Keeps it so the spring will rotate freely. Now anything you got on your shock body that you want off, you wipe it off now or you forever hold your peace. Okay, take your spring. I like putting it so the writing on the spring would stay facing upright. I'm gonna be honest, I really don't think it makes a difference, but my OCD enjoys that. Slide your retainer on the top. This is also why I like going a little past a third, because that still didn't fit on there by much. I usually just set the shock upside down, let it sit against it, and then spin your nuts back down until you got it just snug against it. Right there, I got a decent resistance against me. I'm gonna kind of just finger tighten that Spaniard nut. And now you have a assembled coilover. It's a lot simpler than a lot of people think. It's not, you don't have to go and buy super high dollar, big name brand ones or whatever. Any coilover will be better than a stock spring for the most part. I went with Vikings because they're a decent price and they have pretty good reviews. I don't know too many people that's really had issues with them. So anyway, that's how you assemble a coilover that comes not assembled. You want to go through and probably set your compression and rebound now so you don't forget if you're like me. For me, I'm going to set the compression to about 4 and the rebound to probably 9, which is the middle of their range for rear drag racing coilovers on what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do that before I forget. Thanks for watching. Hopefully this was helpful to you, and see you next time. If I didn't set those right now, I definitely would have forgot. Actually, the other shock I already assembled, I already forgot to do those, so we're gonna go ahead and do that now. Thanks.